Notre Dame is just about set to hit the spring practice field in Marcus Freeman's second spring in South Bend. We got Nathan Urbach on the line. You can catch him on his podcast, Golden Homers. Nathan, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, Mark. Always good to hop on with you and chop it up a little bit. So
yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. That's why you're here. So
yep.
Let's look at Notre Dame coming off, of course, a strange season with a couple of strange losses, but in the end, they knock out a hot South Carolina team in an exciting bowl game to finish up at 9-4. I actually just caught here in the last few hours, FanDuel released its over-under for the Irish at 8.5. How does that hit you right out of the gate?
Well, I mean, I think another tough schedule next year. I mean, I think going into last season, people saw Clemson, Ohio State, USC, with Lincoln Riley coming over on the schedule, and you kind of just assumed it'd be a little bit tougher than years past. Because I think in Brian Kelly, like for as good as his teams were, I think that they did have some lucky breaks throughout his tenure on the schedule. Not because they didn't try to schedule good teams, but some teams were down. Like they played Florida State a few times when they were down. They played Miami when they were down. USC obviously for a lot of his tenure was not what USC is, kind of accustomed to being. So. You see Lincoln Riley come from Oklahoma to USC. You have, Clemson on the schedule back-to-back years and Ohio State on the schedule back-to-back years. And it's tough. So it's tough for a new head coach at Notre Dame, let alone a brand new head coach just in general. So I think they sort of kind of maneuvered through that schedule as best as possible. Like you said, a few hiccups. I don't think anybody expected them to lose to Stanford and Marshall per se. But, I mean, I think the 8.5 is probably fair going into the season. I think with Sam Hartman now at quarterback for Notre Dame, I think people sort of expect them to maybe elevate the offense a little bit and, I know they beat Clemson last year, but Clemson sort of had a down year as well. But, I think people are sort of expecting them to win one of those Ohio State USC games and, maybe finish 10-2, 11-1 or so.
Yeah. That's kind of the reasoning that hits me, that they get the three marquee matchups on the schedule. Do they lose all three, or do they steal one? Does somebody else jump up and get them with a loss? 8.5 seems pretty fair, although I would tend to lean high on that one and take the over, but that would be just a general lean for me right now.
And two of those are home games too, so I think that's the big thing. Ohio State's home, USC's home. So I think from that perspective, I think you almost have to steal one of those games if you want to be considered, a good program next year.